So welcome, everybody. Thank you to attend the first Genius masterclass on this topic, which is how to implement and monitor incentive programs that have really success, that truly generate results. And for this subject, I invite a former business partner of mine, François. Hello, I'm very glad to have you here with me. Perhaps you can present yourself.
Thank you, Gail. Also very happy to be here with you today. Yes, I'm a partner of Minds & More. We've created Minds & More in 2010, so it's 11 years old. And we help companies get more growth through effective marketing and sales and a dimension of transformation. And we do a lot of work in commercial excellence and how to activate their commercial plans. And today's topic, I think, is very relevant in today's economy.
Okay, and for the one who doesn't know me, so I am the CEO of Genius, and we will talk about it a little later. But the first question today, François, that we have is why this topic? And because we know that, like you said, it is a very relevant topic. And why is it okay to do that? Because of course we know, and we will talk about it later, a lot of times the results are not very what we had expected. Just one experience from a previous life of mine, when I was at L'Oréal, we are great and a big sales force, and regularly we said, okay, we will do an incentive, the best solar products seller, or etc. But if you ask me, I couldn't tell you for sure today that it really had an impact on the sales. Okay, it was fun, it was good for us because we thought we did something, but did it really generate results? I am not completely sure about it. But still, you agree with me, François, it's still a good idea and a good thing to develop incentives for your sales force. Do you agree with me?
Oh yeah, clearly. And in today's pandemic, I think you need to look at all ways to have an impact for the business. And clearly, there's incentives for the business, and I'll talk about incentives for the team in a minute. But first, for the business, I mean, it's a lever to help you find additional sales volume. It's a way to help you upsell and cross-sell. And as I said, in this pandemic, it's just a creative way to help you get out of this crisis. So just the fact of maybe before you were just mobilizing a few salespeople, but here, if you can mobilize all the front-facing team, the people in the store, the people in the retailer outlets, people who are interacting with customers to participate and help sell, you will do better. You'll help do better. And in today's environment, there's chances for all of us to boost our productivity. So incentive is definitely an important mix. And from the research we've done is that we found that 80% of companies who do incentives saw an uplift, some kind of improvement to their turnover, an incremental sales, just because they did an incentive program or programs. Maybe they've done a few of them, and clearly it's boosting productivity. So in terms of saying, yeah, I'm actually I'm taking care of the order. No, you should be taking care of the order and doing some upsell or cross-sell as the way you interact with your customers.
And it's good that you talked about how to get out of the crisis, that it's a good tool to get out of the crisis, because a lot of the participants who subscribe for this masterclass, well, I know them, and they are working in catering, restaurant, they have chains of restaurant business. So we know that this is a business who suffered a lot of the crisis. They are people as well. So indeed, I think also for them, but for the shops in general, but also for them, it's very important to motivate, to be close to them. And this will perhaps introduce the motivation of your team part. Why is it good to do that? So you have some tips for us regarding that?
Yeah, for sure. And it's true, at the end of the day, any business, it's a people business. You may have great products, great services, but you need the people, you need the team. So in today's environment, it's nice to put a challenge. People who have a commercial role some type of commercial activity as part of their job really like to have incentives. They like the competition, they like the chance to win, they like to be in a competition with their colleagues, they like to excel if they can, they like to be recognized. It could be like, well done you, or well done the team. And they want to be part of something special, because some of them are a bit bored or falling into their routine. So an incentive or a challenge makes it, as we say here, an adventure, something that changes their routine. And it's a win for them individually, it's a win for their team, and of course it's a win for the business. So it's a good thing to do. So you need both. Motivation for the business, motivation for the team.
And I think for the motivation for your team, of course, there is this winning part, but I would like to highlight the need to progress, because what I noticed from the lot of people I'm talking with, I'm working with, they want to do their job better. They want to progress. So I think we will see it afterwards, but this is also very important for those people to perform better and to receive the tools how to do better. Yes, we also had some insights regarding that, so that 56% of employees are more motivated during incentives. And here it's in France, 1 company out of 3 uses a sales challenge or sales incentive to stimulate the sales force and increase its turnover. So it's definitely right to set up an incentive program. But why then? If we have some good such insights, why does an incentive program much too often produce disappointing results? I have my ideas, of course, but Francois, what are yours ideas?
Yeah,
or what are
research, as you said, from 10 years, from our 10 years experience in working in helping develop and activate growth plans, there are some things which some companies fail to do well. I mean, and I talked about the plan, a real strategic plan. Is there a plan? Did you define the plan for the year, but did you develop a plan for the quarter? Is there a plan for how to turn around the business? So maybe you're missing a strategic plan, or the gap is maybe big, and you put some unachievable objectives, saying, okay, tomorrow I want to pick up X thousand euros extra. Yeah, but based on what? Did you look at what's happening in the marketplace? Did you look at the competition? Did you really understand your customers? Are they willing to spend more? Are they motivated to if you promote something else? So you need to be clear around the objectives, and they need to be realistic. And then, of course, one of the key things we see is it's too much intuition and not facts and figures. So they're not analyzing enough. They're not communicating enough why to do the incentive, how people are progressing on the incentive, making sure that people understand the value of the incentive. So that's often a missed opportunity. And then the last piece, as we said previously, the people. The incentive program may have been well defined and a good description on a document, but you didn't get people to feel excited about the incentive program. There was no motivation. So the way it was sold internally, the internal in was not good. So these are probably 3 or 4 of the common challenges I've seen in the past 10 years.
Yes, and of course, I like the analysis found and insight, and that also what I have seen from the talks I have with some customers and prospects. And I'd like to highlight this one, perhaps, who is Philippe Loga, is the owner and the managing partner of Kusmi Tea. That's I like this tea, it's very nice and trendy tea. And he told me, he says, most of the time, and I will read his quote, due to a lack of resources and tools that allow a simple and clear reading of individual or collective achievements, we are not able to give our teams in the points of sales a complete and instantaneous visibility of their performance. And that is where we fail to create the necessary emulation for the success of our incentives. So my comprehension is that there is a lack of analysis, so a lack of tools in order for the managers to analyze, but also, and perhaps it's the impact of that, a lack of communication, because I think we will see that it's very important to communicate with the teams before, during the incentive, and afterwards. I hope you agree with that, François.
Yeah, nice quote. No, it's honest feedback. It's pretty accurate. Yeah. And I think it's a good segue to some of the things maybe we can share with the participants in terms of, well, how do you go from a disappointing incentive program to something that's maybe more successful? I've prepared some things. Maybe you can show the next slide.
Yes.
It's kind of a 5-step process, and I think Gail has some examples you want to share. But I previously talked about the objectives, and I'm going to revisit the objectives in a minute. I'm going to talk about the mechanics in terms of the steps. One of the things I highlighted was the communication, really important. So we'll share some tips with you on the communication of the aspects of the incentive program. As Gail pointed out, the analysis of the evolution, how's the incentive doing, how we're progressing as a team or as an individual, and sharing that on a regular basis is really important. And then the analysis of the results, supporting the business goals and the team goals and individual goals are really important. So maybe we go through each of those steps. If you have questions, definitely put them in the Zoom chat, and we will respond to your questions. The first one around the objectives is objectives need to be smart, and you need good good definition. Meaning, okay, the objective is to do what? Is it to boost a product? Is it to introduce a new product? Is it to encourage a type of service that the customer did not know that we had? So existing product line, new product launches. Maybe the objective is just about acquisition. Today we talk a lot about inbound marketing, but as the person is in the store, or as the person comes to your point of sale, are you able to motivate and attract that person? Are you able to convert them into a customer? What product do you highlight? And then the other point is moments of, right now we're, I think, what are we, a week away or a weekend away from the Mother's Day? Is that a moment where you can sell more of your products and services? Maybe it's not relevant. Maybe it's something else that's happening. Maybe it's the Europa Cup. Maybe it's the Christmas event. Maybe it's Easter, whatever it is. But is there a trigger for you to come back to your customers to sell more of your products and services? So you need to set the right objectives. You need to understand where you are historically and what can you define for your sales activities and your points of sale. And then you make sure that you convert these objectives, these small objectives, in SMART. You've got relevant, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. So how do you translate that to the KPIs? And I think the next slide we have is just about the KPIs.
Yes, yes, because like you said, yes, SMART objectives, what I call concrete and relevant KPIs. That is very often what is not analyzed enough, and what makes sometimes from the beginning of the incentive that the persons are disappointed and said, okay, it's even not worth it that I begin playing in this game. Some KPIs that I have seen could be good start for objective is average basket per point of sales, per salesperson, per time slot. Why? Because you have some of your employees who are only working the morning, or only working the afternoon, or perhaps only on Saturday and Sunday, and not on Monday and Tuesday. So you have to take that into account, of course. Otherwise, the objectives won't be accurate and achievable for everybody. A second KPI that usually is very key for chains of shops, for retailers, that's the number of items sold per transaction, the number of items per ticket or per sales. And here as well, we know that there are some salesperson who can do it much better. So is it interesting to put one common objective? That's up to you, but this is the number of items sold per transaction can also be an interesting KPI. And linked with that, number of different items, because what is relevant for you? Is it more relevant for your business that it's 2, 3 different items per transaction, or would you prefer to have 2 different items? So this is also an important KPI. Like François said, I think it's very important one, the number of new customers registered in your company's loyalty program, who agree, who officially opt in order to receive your newsletter. It's for you a unique opportunity to have specific contact with them. So it could definitely be worth an incentive. And of course, the turnover of a specific product category of product, etc. And indeed, I will just want to give you one example, because of course we can find, and you have to find your own example. But here, so this is Genius. So some of you know what Genius does. So we are a business monitoring and analytical platform. What is very different with our system is that we directly connect with the most important moment of the life of your business, the money time. When your customers are paying, we are there. That's where we connect, meaning that in real time, all the dimensions linked with this crucial moment of money time, we can capture them, and you can play with it. We can play with all those dimensions very easily. So here, it's a demo, of course. It's a demo, and it's a demo database, but it's a bank. It's not a banking. It's a bakery chain, and the sales direction and the marketing direction had the feeling that they had to do some kind of incentive on tea coffret, tea boxes. So this is a bakery chain. They are selling viennoiserie, but also tea. And so they thought, coffret, it could be good. But let's make concrete if this feeling is a good one. So what we did, we ranked all the sellers, and we just took, okay, what did they buy? What are the sales in euro, in number of sales? And based on that, we very easily calculate the average basket. And you see that between Christian, who was almost an average basket of 14 euro. And I took it in the previous 3 months. I could have taken it 1 year, but this is up to you. I thought this was relevant, but perhaps for your activity, you prefer to compare it with last year. This is what you want. But between the highest average basket and let's say here, less than 6 euro, it's huge. Yeah. It's huge. Of course, it's the average basket. I could have done it on the sales. Yeah, I could have done it on the sales. Perhaps it's most relevant to do it on the sales. This is really up to what you want to achieve. And here the figures are there to concretize what you want to do. And I segmented them. So very easily, I said, okay, I made the hypothesis that those are the best ones. So I segment those with a 10. And I said, okay, the less good one, they have 1. But then I said, okay, is it really the reality? And of course, it's the reality. But when I went a little more in detail, I've seen that the sellers in the morning sells less in quantity than the one of the afternoon. So it can't be the case that all the sellers in the morning are less good than the one in the afternoon. It could be it couldn't be possible. And indeed, it's not possible, because when I looked at the product mix, I see that the product mix of the one in the afternoon are completely different as the one in the morning. And I see that in the afternoon, my coffret, my tea boxes, they are definitely one of the mixed bestsellers, but they are not at all there in the morning. What could be logical? Because well, in the morning, I want my coffee, I want my tea, I want my viennoiserie, and I don't want to buy a coffret. Perhaps I will do that when I come back when I finished work. So it would be silly to put a coffret incentive for all my sellers. I will choose the coffret for the one of the afternoon, and perhaps I will take another one for the one of the morning. So I made a specific analysis only for the sellers who works from 2 to 8 p.m. And then I see indeed that my mixed bestsellers, herbal blends, and this is only between my sellers in the afternoon that I did this ranking. So, okay, I've got my coffret. I will do a coffret incentive only for the one in the afternoon. And I will show you the next steps afterwards. So just to give you, it's just one example. We could have thousands of them. It's just to explain that it's important to exactly decide what are the objectives in order to be able to explain it to your team. Why is this specific objective that you set up? But let's go to step 2 first.
Yep, step 2. So back to the team, and this is more the specifics of the incentive, the mechanics. So you can create some incentives at the team level. I'm saying this is for the whole group. This is for the team. We're 8 people. We're 12 people. We're going to participate in this incentive program. Or you could bring it down to the individual, saying, okay, François, Gaël, Marie, Jacques, this is your individual goal. This is the timing. This is the products you need to be selling. And this is the challenge for you individually. Or it could be a hybrid, saying, okay, you know what? We have an overall target that we need to achieve collectively. And we have the chance for each individually get results based on our individual contribution to the contest. So you could do a group, individual, or a mix of both. So it could be as simple as saying, you know what, our top 5 salespeople or top 3 salespeople who get the objective, who meet the target the fastest, will get something. Or you could say for those who do the best on Tuesdays, they get something. Or like you showed, Gaël, in terms of you seeing that a lot of sales is happening early in the morning and then early afternoon. Doing those time slots, who did the best? So it's like a bit of a competition, saying, okay, between 9 and 10, who was able to do the best?
Exactly.
To which type of customers? Voila. And then maybe the overall goal, you say, you know, we all need to get there to get this extra bonus, or we all need to meet it, or we all fail. So it's really important. So it's important to define the mechanics, not just the why, but to whom. To whom.
Exactly. And perhaps, that's the, and so it leads us to the step 3. So communicate and explain all aspects of the incentive. Do you want to?
Yeah, sure. And
illustrate?
I want to highlight this because the communication part, as I said, you've developed a plan, you've defined whom you want to go after, but it's perfect on a piece of paper, but you haven't mobilized the people. They're not excited about it. So you need to communicate. So to whom, who are the participants? Have I forgotten someone? Was I clear in terms of when the competition is going to start? Was I clear in terms of what are the rules of the game? What are the KPIs we'll be using? How does the person know how they'll be progressing? When do we announce the results? What can they expect in the morning, in the afternoon, at the end of the day, as part of this competition? So you need to define the rules of the game, but communicate whether it's a team meeting, whether it's a one-to-one follow-up, whether it's introducing this in your coaching sessions. But companies underestimate the power of good communications.
Also, just perhaps regarding define the participants, it's not a problem if everybody is not included in this specific competition or challenge. If you define them correctly, it could perhaps only be some shops or restaurant in a specific region or in a specific country, or so it's not a problem. If you can explain why you do it, it's not a problem to only targeted some participants. So I just wanted to highlight that, because a lot of times the manager says, well, we'll do it for everybody. But if you do it for everybody, well, you will have these problems of very accurate KPIs. And so they won't be involved in the competition. And indeed, the daily monitoring, I think this one is a very important one. We'll see it also afterwards. And regarding the daily monitoring, there are a lot of things you can explain. You can perhaps send every day kind of a email or a newsletter showing the results. So, and explain before what will be your daily communication. And then the question is, but why? Why is it important to do such a daily communication? Do you have some insights on that?
No, it's true. I mean, it's you've communicated, but you still need to reinforce it. So it's reinforcing the value from the contributions of the team. You need to keep them motivated, because let's imagine this competition was going to last a few weeks. You want to make sure that week 2, the energy level is higher than week 1, instead of seeing the flop. So maybe you also say, you know what, we've learned a few things, so we're fine tuning. Maybe it's a technique, maybe it's a best practice. What is this salesperson doing better than the others that you share to the team, so everyone can use their tips. Encourage testimonials, and then coaching is really important. So to as a sales manager, or as a service team leader, or as a team leader, or whoever, reinforce why it's important, why each person who's participating has a chance, encourage their progress, and then just mutual support between the team members. So yes, they're competing against each other, but it's a game, it's a competition, it's an incentive. So they're colleagues. I mean, they're all in the same challenge. So it's healthy competition, but you need to nurture the right atmosphere between themselves.
And I also here would like to highlight, it's not a problem if you adapt the objectives. It's only a problem if you can't explain why you adapt it. But here as well, if you can explain that it could be just a logistical issue that made that you have to adapt the objectives, or it could be that perhaps you realize, even if you did some good preparation, perhaps something happened and it's still unattainable or unachievable for the participants. So it's not a problem to adapt them if you can explain them. I also wanted to say that because I've heard that, oh no, we don't dare. No, if you can explain, if you have good analysis to explain them, you can adapt. And here perhaps,
I mean, no, we had a competition with some commercial team, and it was on 3 products, but one product was we had a stocking issue. So we had to change the mix a little bit, saying, look, you know, that product, the stock is gone, or we're not able to get the stock to replace in the time we want. So we changed, and we said, you know what, you probably need to concentrate on product B and product C. So your stock levels may have changed. Competition may have done something, so you had an action. You say, oh, actually, based on what competition is doing, we're going to adjust a little bit. Or maybe just a weather change. You could say, you know, it's not now the time to talk about this. It's a cold day, so now we need to talk about our warm drinks instead of our cold drinks. So voila. So you need to adapt, especially today. I mean, we're in month of May and it's like winter, but okay. Yeah.
But exactly, that's totally true, and that is also where the your input is important as a manager or managing team of those people, to coach them, to support them when it's going good and when it's going bad. But it's very in nowadays we have to be flexible, and that's also very important to be able to monitor what is happening in your different point of sales. So this is why do we have to follow up on a daily communication, but perhaps also how. So I said yes, perhaps a friendly emailing, like you said earlier, Francois, an employee's best practice. That is exchange today is very important. So they are different. It can be a simple mail. It doesn't have to be a newsletter. It's just a mail. Some of them you can, some of them you can call them. But this is important. Involve the local management. I just told about it. Perhaps also as very soon in the process. So perhaps when you are designing the incentive or the challenge. But I think they know your people, so it can be valuable to involve them in the setup of this incentive. And of course, use a tool, because I come back to the quote of Philippe Lauga. If you don't have the tool to monitor, well, of course, you won't be able to give daily updates. Here as well, there could be different things. Just let me show you what I did, but it's very simple. You know, I just did a simple dashboard when I said first, okay, that's all the sales of coffret, your tea coffret, since the start of the incentive. So altogether, this is the best coffret sellers since the start of the incentive. That's the sales of coffret today, and that's the best coffret seller today. Well, you know, I did this masterclass with François last week in French, and last week that was not the same. The best coffret since the incentive was not the same as of today. Why? Because okay, it was last week Friday. Well, if Brigitte wasn't working on Friday, but of course it was someone else, so it can be different here. By the reality of the figures, that's the same. And here, what I put very simply, it's the ranking. So Brigitte, the 2-day sale, how many sales she did today in total. How many is it only for the coffret? The same in quantities. She sells today 156 items. 5 are from coffret, and it's 60 tickets that she put. And how did we set up the challenge? We said, okay, you have to be between. I think I put between 0.5 and I think it was 2%. It's okay if you have the quantity of coffret on the quantity of the total quantity of sales. If it's between 0.5 and 2, you okay, you yellow your indicator. If you're on top of it, you a green one, and if you're less, you a red one. And you see those one, well, okay, those one, perhaps they are working. They are working, but they didn't buy any coffret yet. So you can also call them to say, okay, is it a problem? Is it an issue? And I can see, for instance, that Bernard L, he sell 2 coffrets, and I can see Bernard, okay, we are the 5th of May, he's in the shop in Madrid. This is the 2 coffrets he sold, and with how many. And I did something similar, but since the beginning of the incentive. So of course, same thing, also indicator, a lot of more yellow, of course, because it's, and here you have the one. And so you have, for instance, Geoffrey, I take this one, those are the 7 boxes he sold until the beginning. And I put 1st of April as the start of the incentive. It could be something like that. You can design it on some other things. And also, I made it here for April, but this is to see per shop. How did it, and how did it per shop? Well, with coffret, with the incentive in Bonn, for instance, they sold for almost a little more than 900 euro coffret, and in month to date, so they bought more than 600 more than last year. And if you do it per seller, you also hear per seller the difference between this month and the same month last year. So this is things you can do. There are also a lot of different possibilities and options that you can do. So this is an example. I don't know if you have some additional insights on that, François.
Well, I'm amazed by the ability to slice and dice, to be able to look at it from different angles. I could see how you could just send a quick update saying, hey, look, congratulations of all the people who are in the green, or congratulations to the people that progressed the most. So where does the source of data come from in terms of your example? How do you make it work? I mean, what did
we directly connect to the cashier system. So you know, of the payment system. Yeah. Is it online? Is it because it could be online, and then you can do the click and collect, etc. Yeah. But we directly connect to the payment system or the cashier system. And so
what's nice there is, as you're saying, is with your cashier system, you're connected to the transaction, and yes,
to the database,
which is the data exactly. And what I see from my history, where companies fail is they they connect it to the ERP, and it's not at the individual
Exactly.
level. It's an aggregate, and they say, okay, here's how we did on this product, but you're not able to zoom into what time, to whom, which salesperson, and it's too late. So this, I can see how this is very dynamic.
Well, this is exactly what we do. We usually today the data analytics is bottom up. Like you said, it's ERP, aggregate, and then you try, and it's always too late. And that's also why such incentive is very complicated for the managers to follow. That's the reason why we described ourselves by an analytical and monitoring platform, because we go from where it all happens in the sales, at the cashier system. That's where we go, and so it gives this ability to zoom, and afterwards you can put those figures to the ERP or where you want to have your aggregations. But that's exactly what we do. So
nice example.
If I can put okay. Yes, this is also this is the step 5, but this is the one I think so important. And like you said, is when do you announce the results? And usually it happens sometimes 2-3 weeks, sometimes 1 month after the end of the incentive. Why? Just because the managers don't have the right figures, they need to compile it, they need to make something out of it, to source the figures, and it's not always easy. But what does that mean? It means that for the people, for the employees, they said, okay, when you directly want to know, did I win or didn't I win, or where am I in the ranking? So in my opinion, it's very important to announce the result super soon, ideally the day after, or maximum 3 days after. But this is my recommendation. And not only to give the results of the individual results, of course you have to do it, but show the progress for the company. Because if you do an incentive, of course, is for the employee to progress, to take part of a challenge, to take part in the adventure. But of course, eventually it's for the company to make progress. So show the progress for the company. What is the impact on the turnover this month, sales compared with previous month or the same month last year? Did the category really increase? Did it have an impact for the company as a whole or for the shop as a whole? And of course, individual progress, and put their individual progress in perspective. So this would be my my recommendation. I don't know, Francois, if you have the same.
No, for sure. I definitely agree with that. It's almost like what I've seen is there's someone who's driving the incentive or the program, the sales manager or the commercial leader, but then they depend on another department, or I'm depending on IT, or I'm depending on finance to get the conclusion, but they're on different time horizons. So there's a disconnect that happens. So here you're saying, actually, no, we have viewed this information. So the example you showed is nice because you don't have to wait for the close of the quarter. And sometimes you never get the information if you use just the traditional way. So, yeah.
Of course, it's part of the game, but to find nice prices, the good prices. So this is also important, and take the opportunity to share best practices, and to put perhaps some of your people on stage, not physically, but under the spotlights. Perhaps the one who won very concretely, or the one who win the challenge, but there is perhaps someone else who did a major progress that you can also put forward. I think this is also the objective of an incentive. It's to show to your employees, to your people, that you recognize what they did, even if they didn't win. So that could be something interesting as well. And also, why not? Depends of the culture of your companies, but it could be a possibility to communicate on it on Facebook or on LinkedIn or on your intranet. It could be also a possibility to personify your employees, to show who is behind the name of your brand or the name of your chain. So this could also be possible. I don't know what you think of that, Francois.
No, it's you should almost, like, to your example, you're not using the incentive as just in that moment. You're living the experience, you're resharing. So now with social media, people are sharing, hey, I won this prize, I'm proud that our team won this, and you're getting more buzz, more content that's reshared on social media, which actually gets you awareness, promotes your brand. So it's just not just that event, you're getting mileage beyond that event, which is nice, nice.
Exactly, I think so too. And well, it's the end of the masterclass. So thank you. If you still have questions, don't hesitate to put it on the chat or to contact us afterwards. Thank you for your participation. We respect the timing. It was 45 minutes, so we did a good job so far.
Yeah,
it's not always easy. We write the Genius Ultimate guide on that subject. So as soon as this masterclass will be finished, well, it will be in a couple of seconds or minutes, we will send you a link with the guide. So you will find something we said, you will perhaps find also something we didn't said, but at least you will have all the details you need, I think, in order to implement and monitor your own incentive program. That's very important. And just I don't know if you know, but I host a podcast, Let's Talk Retail, where I invite experts or key actors in the retail business. It's every Friday at 8 o'clock in the morning, but of course you don't have to be there, especially at Friday at 8 o'clock. You can have it on Spotify, Deezer, Apple Podcast, or Google Podcast. It's in French. I know it's an English masterclass, but you have all the transcript of the podcast in English on our genius.com podcast website. So don't hesitate, and perhaps in a couple of weeks, I will host the podcast in English as well, but for the moment it's in French with the English transcript.
Cool.
So Francois, I let you have the final word.
Well, thank you for inviting me. It's always interesting. It's a very relevant topic. I think in today's pandemic, companies are looking for different ways to find growth and to stay engaged with their employees. So I think it was a nice experience for me to share with you. And I think what you shared, your examples, are real concrete enablers to help companies bring that to life. So success to everybody, and thank you for the opportunity.
And I will also put in the email I will send you with the URL to download the Ultimate Guide. I will also put the LinkedIn, your LinkedIn, Francois, your LinkedIn, and the Minds and More LinkedIn.
Exactly. So if
connection.
you need help on a plan or training, we're there, or interim, we're always
exactly.
there.
And I've worked there for 7 years. I can tell you they are very good.
Yes, again. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.